Hey guys, Shashank Kalanitha here, and in this video we're going to go over a step-by-step guide to get you up and running with freelancing as a data analyst or a data scientist. Freelancing is just basically doing any work outside of your regular 9 to 5, usually at an hourly or project-based rate, where you're not contracted for the full 8 hours of the day. So things like Upwork, things like Fiverr, these are usually freelancing gigs. And the great thing about being a data analyst or a data scientist is that we have a unique set of skills, along with other people like software engineers, that allow us to easily sell our skills at an hour-by-hour level. So for this video, the basic structure we're going to be following is what is freelancing and why you should do it, why I personally chose to use Upwork for my freelancing, kickstarting your Upwork profile, how to have a killer profile, write killer proposals, stuff like that, and then how to manage clients, how much you should charge, and then why I quit and things you should look out for if you decide to go into freelancing. If you want to get straight into the part where I actually give you the step-by-step guide on getting started on Upwork, go to this timestamp right over here. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about why exactly I think you should be doing freelancing and what I liked about it. I would say there were three major things I benefited from by doing freelancing. The first thing was I was able to just get money, right? I increased the amount of money I was able to get. The second thing was I was able to use it to improve both my technical and non-technical skills. I was able to improve things like stakeholder management and improve my technical skills by working on technologies that I would not have been exposed to in the workforce by doing them through Upwork. And then third was the extra income security that was offered to me by doing this job. And that's different from making more money, and I'll tell you why in a second. So the first thing, making extra money. Now, I know that people aren't always comfortable talking about money, but in my opinion, making extra money up until a certain point is definitely a good thing and just generally good for your life. I think that you shouldn't be fueled by greed, but you should understand that a large portion of the life that you live will be determined by the amount of money that you earn. And that's kind of why I wanted to make a little bit of extra money. I would say, one of the great things about Upwork was by working on Upwork, I was able to actually build up enough capital to go buy a house, which hopefully will provide me with some passive income in the future that I can use to give myself more income flexibility as I get older. But that's a fairly obvious reason. Let's go into the second one. Help me improve my technical and non-technical skills. So when you go into the workforce, right, you're going to go work for a company, and there will usually be a single tech stack that you'll work for, or maybe you'll work for a couple of different tech stacks. So for example, I work at Nordstrom, as you could probably tell. And over there, we use a couple of SQL databases, but there's one that I work with specifically, basically all the time. By doing freelancing, I was able to work on other SQL databases, such as Google BigQuery, AWS Redshift, and a couple of other technologies that I'm not normally exposed to, which is one of the reasons I really liked doing work through Upwork. I was able to build up those technical skills. Additionally, there are all the non-technical skills that you'll be able to build up by going into freelancing. Things like stakeholder management, how to properly charge clients, and probably the most important one out there, which is how to sell yourself to people. If you ever want to make extra, like a lot of money in your lifetime, if you ever want to accomplish a lot in your lifetime, you're going to have to figure out how to sell yourself to people. And what that means is put your skills in the absolute best light possible. That way you can convince people that you are the solution to many of their problems. And hopefully your technical skills are at such a level that you actually are the solution to many of those people. But I find that technical people oftentimes are not taught these skills of selling yourself to other people, to brag in a very gracious way, to show people, hey, I know all this stuff and I can get all this stuff done for you, and maybe exaggerate a little bit and rise up to the challenge of actually doing what you were asked to do, even if you aren't able to do it at that exact moment. So outside of making extra money and improving your technical and non-technical skills, I would say the third major thing I liked about Upwork was it gave me a lot of income security. So as many of you will know, I work a 9 to 5 job at Nordstrom, and I love my job. It's a great job. But I like the idea of having the income security that Upwork provides me. That way, if for whatever reason I get fired or I get let go or something, right, or I really just don't like my job, I make enough money off of Upwork in order to have the income security to not have to dip into my savings in order to cover my basic living expenses, except for I think maybe rent. I might have to dip into it a little bit. But that extra income security makes me a much stronger negotiator whenever I'm looking for jobs, because I don't need the money right now. So I would say income security is, although you have to work for it, having the option of being able to make money doing something outside of your primary job provides you a lot of freedom in life, and is something that I value quite a bit personally. All right, so now that we've talked about freelancing in general, let's talk about why I personally used Upwork. This video is not sponsored by Upwork, although if Upwork wants to sponsor me, feel free to let me know. I've been using the service for over a year right now and absolutely loved it. I used Upwork for three major reasons. One, it seemed more professional to me than the other networks out there. 2, rates seem to be higher to me than the other networks out there. And 3, there was a specific button on Upwork that let me limit the competition for jobs to people looking for US-based contractors. And so basically this is a switch that you could toggle on the upper right corner of the screen that would say only allow US-based persons to apply for this job. And this was very important to me because I didn't want to be competing with someone halfway around the world who's going to charge a quarter or a sixth or an eighth of my rate for comparable or the same work. So that switch was super great because as much as I, am a fan of working hard and I tell people work hard, I think that competing on rates can be a very dangerous downward spiral for you as far as what you can actually make for the amount of work you put in. Now, that's not to say that other freelancing platforms don't have these services as well and don't have these features as well. Upwork is just the one that I chose, and it had all of this stuff, and I was personally happy with it. That's not me saying that other services aren't good, just that Upwork is good. All right, so now that we've gone over why you should do freelancing, in my opinion, what I liked about it, and why I use Upwork specifically, let's talk about actually getting you some jobs on Upwork, aka kickstarting your Upwork profile. In my opinion, there are 2 major steps to doing this correctly. 1, have a killer profile, and 2, write killer proposals. Now, in Upwork, the basic premise or the basic process you follow in order to actually get a job on Upwork is you go onto the website, and there's 2 ways you can do this, right? But you go onto the website, people will post a job that they need to get done, and they'll usually post some kind of budget there as well. Although that budget, make sure that you understand that that budget number is negotiable. Just because a number is low doesn't mean that you can't ask for more. A lot of the times the clients don't necessarily know how much a job should cost, but there's a job board and there are proposals on that job board, there are jobs on that job board. You submit a proposal, and the proposal that you submit can be accepted or denied. And then after it's accepted or denied, you take on the job, you agree to a rate, you finish the job, you get paid, you get reviewed, and you review your client. So let's start off with getting a killer Upwork profile. There are 4 major aspects, I think, that will actually drastically help you get more jobs and get proposals accepted by clients. So the 4 things are: verify your ID and your phone number. I've noticed that not all people do this, and I'm not too sure why, because it's a fairly simple thing to do to give your clients that little bit of extra trust that they may need to know, okay, this is like a real person, and it's not just some random person from, the middle of nowhere. And then 2, if you have any certifications, now is the time to use them. Now is the time to put them. Upwork has a certification section at the bottom of their profiles, so go ahead and put your certifications down there. And then 3, really crank up the marketing speak to 11. You may be a little bit uncomfortable using marketing speak, words like derives top tier insights for clients, or I will squeeze every ounce of insight from the data that you have. That's actually what I used on my profile, which we'll look at in a second. And I've noticed that technical people especially have a lot of discomfort with using language like that. But that's the kind of language that, in my opinion, you have to use on Upwork in order to make yourself stick out from the crowd. And the good thing is, if technical people are uncomfortable using that kind of language, this is an easy way for you to stick out. The thing is, a lot of people on Upwork are not other software engineers or other data analysts looking for data analysts to do work for them. A lot of the people are just people running businesses that need someone to do the work for them. And because of that, they don't know exactly how the stuff in our industry works, which is why you have to use this language in order to, really stick out and show them, hey, I have I really know what I'm doing. Check out my profile. You can see my profile right over here, where you can see the description that I used. I especially cranked up that information to 11 and try and find a way to stick out. For me, it was this little donation clause I had on mine as well. That was another thing I did a little bit later that allowed me to actually stick out on my proposals. And it's the first thing on my profile, and you see it before basically anything else. Also, notice how my title has my certifications in it as well. Your title can only be so long, but I have it in there as well just to make sure that people see that there as well. Also, if you're a data analyst, go ahead and just write down data scientist on your profile, in my opinion, because the word data scientist is more common in like just the general lexicon out there. And so people know what data scientists are and they're deemed to be more experts, but you can just take on data analyst contracts and not take data scientist ones on if you don't want to. But by using that word, you will be able to stick out a lot more to people in my anecdotal experience. And number 4, make sure you ask clients for reviews. I know that this can be a little bit uncomfortable as well, but if you did a good job for a client, in my opinion, you deserve a good review. And the client will ask you to review them as well usually. But I found that clients that I have good relationships with, which were basically all of my clients, I think save one, I was able to get a great review from that client. So I highly, highly recommend that, because you're getting more reviews on your profile is the secret sauce to actually making Upwork be a profitable and time efficient enterprise for you. You want to spend as little time as possible looking for jobs and get your profile to a point where actually jobs are coming to you, or you have one or two very large clients. That way you don't have to worry about going and finding clients, because that is not time that you are actively working and actively earning money, the time that you are looking for proposals. So I definitely think that that is something you want to strive for. Get a bunch of great reviews on your profile. Next, we're going to be talking about writing killer proposals to clients. So remember, in the process of getting a job at Upwork, the job gets posted on the website, and then you will apply for the job. You send a proposal. There are 5 parts, in my opinion, that are required in order to write a killer Upwork proposal. Number 2 is actually really interesting. So the first part is skillfully underbid, and do this with your first couple of contracts. You want to get 2 to 3 5-star reviews with text. So make sure that the person actually writes down text on the review. And usually if someone's willing to give you a 5-star review, they'll write down text as well. But get 2 to 3 5-star reviews with text on your profile. This gives you way more credibility than basically anything else in Upwork can give you. So make sure you do that. So this will, the reason that this is particularly important, it should be pretty obvious, is that this will help you ask for your own rate in the future. Underbidding right now so that you win the contract and get that 5-star review is work you're putting in today to reap the rewards of tomorrow. It's delayed gratification, because you will be, you will eventually get to the holy grail of Upwork, where you get emails from clients prior to them posting the job on the public, asking for you to apply for the job. So that's what happens to my profile right now, where I wouldn't have to apply for a job ever again if I didn't want to, because the jobs just come to me now because of my profile rating and because I have that top rated badge in Upwork. Also, one more thing I should also note is I've done jobs at a loss before. Like I did 1 or 2 jobs at a loss to myself in order to get those 5-star reviews. But because of that, I don't have to work anymore in order to look for jobs. And I keep, Upwork gives you proposal points basically that you use in order to actually propose to send a proposal to clients. And the reason they do this is to make sure that people aren't just spamming the entire network with a bunch of junk proposals. And the reason I completely forgot to mention them is because I haven't used those points basically in forever, because I don't have to. At the end of the day, clients come to me asking for proposals, not the other way around now. Number 2, this is the secret tip that a lot of people don't know about. Try and figure out the client's name. So oftentimes the client's name will not be visible on the actual job posting. And so what you do in that case is go to the reviews of the client. Oftentimes a prior contractor will write down the client's name saying, John was a great person to work with, and have that written out over there. And by doing that, what you've done is you've made your proposal instantly way more noticeable to people, because people, when they see their names, they instantly notice them. I know whenever I see my name, even if it's not referring to myself, I instantly notice it. There's a couple of commenters on my YouTube channel who are named Shashank as well. I instantly notice their comments because they have the same name as me. So it is a very easy trick that you can do to try and make sure your proposal sticks out. At the end of the day, that's what you want to do. The best jobs have 10 to 50 proposals in them. You want to make sure that yours sticks out. Another tip also is to make sure that you don't apply for jobs with more than 10 proposals to them, because on the actual screen where the job poster is looking to see who I should actually interview, I believe it only shows the first 10 proposals. So if a job has more than 10 people looking for it, don't even propose, in my opinion. You'll waste your time by doing that. And then number 3, this one's a really interesting one. Do the job ahead of time. This is especially easy for web scraping jobs. So I found that for web scraping jobs, oftentimes people will say, I need this website scraped and I need this data scraped. If I see that there aren't that many proposals for that job, what I do is I will go and scrape the data instantly. I will stop everything I'm doing. I'll go scrape the data instantly, and you can see it on this proposal right here. This is exactly what I did. And then I actually give a sample to the client and say, I have your data ready. Give me this contract right now and I will email you the data instantly. And this is a very easy way to win contracts instantly. I was able to make $200 in an hour basically by doing this. Someone was offering $200 for a web scraping job. That's a bit unusual, just to be clear. That's not at all a common rate for a web scraping job, but this one just happened to have that. And I basically got $200 for working for 1 hour because I made sure to scrape the data instantly, and go ahead and just send it to the client as quickly as possible. And then number 4, I believe, write down as much of the process you'll be following in order to deliver results. It shows that you know what you're doing. So you'll see in this proposal over here, someone was asking me to do, I believe, a web scraping job, but it was a bit more of a complicated one where they wanted some stuff automated. So I actually wrote down the process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of exactly what I would do in order to show them and give them confidence that I'm not just telling them, hey, I will do this job for you, but I will do this job and I know what I'm talking about. Look at this, these steps over here. So this is another kind of like magic bullet you can use to increase the chances of you getting your proposal accepted. Something I should make clear is that my proposals used to get rejected a decent amount as well. So none of these are, maybe magic bullet's not the right term, but none of these are silver bullets. But if you combine all of these tips together, you're drastically increasing the chances that your proposal will be accepted. And then number 5, go ahead and attach any prior experience. Check out this proposal right over here that you might have in relation to the job. So you'll see that actually I had a lot of prior experience, or I had some prior experience in real estate and real estate analysis for this client over here who was looking for something similar done. And I actually attached a project that I'd done in order to show them, hey, I've already done this kind of work. Check it out and see how I can help you out. I actually won this contract, and this was one of my best clients. She was so easy to work with, we'll go over what you should do to make sure that you actually get good clients in the future. All right, so as you guys saw in that last project, that last client, what I'd done was I'd actually done a real estate analysis project prior to going for that client. And that was just a happy circumstance where I needed to do some data analysis of real estate because I was planning on buying a house. And I just, flipped that into my proposal for that client. Now, you may or may not have such projects in your repertoire so far. And if you don't, then today's sponsor, Project Pro, is exactly the website for you. They reached out to me and I checked out their website, absolutely loved it. This is I don't know why no one's thought of this concept before, but basically they have solved end-to-end data science, big data, and machine learning projects just ripe for the taking, created by the top industry experts at companies from all over the world, everything from Facebook to Walmart, companies you've definitely heard of. So you can go to their website, check it out over here. You'll see they have a bunch of big data projects for you to practice big data skills, data science projects to practice data science skills. And remember, these aren't just skills to practice. These are actual projects that have been done at companies. And the whole point of them is that you could take it back to your company, or you could take it back to a client that you might be working with and actually work through these projects that have already been worked through for you. So you'll even see they have this really cool customized project path little tool over here where you can select what your role is, right? So I can say I'm like a data scientist, and I can select I want to know more about AdaBoost regressors, and then work on, let's say, I don't know, let's go with, or let's go ahead and do AdaBoost or a decision tree classifier, yeah. So let's deselect everything. We're going to decision tree classifier and then do a clustering problem. And I can go, classification problem. And I can go ahead and get my path over here, and I'll get a list of projects that I can use for whatever I might need in the future. So it's a curated library of verified, solved end-to-end project solutions in data science, machine learning, and big data. All the projects are created by top industry experts from top global tech companies. And you'll find end-to-end project solutions, reusable code, guided videos, 24/7 tech support, and access to over 2,000 code recipes for free, with 120 plus solved projects after you join the service. So visit projectpro.io to know more about this service. Subscribe to Project Pro's YouTube right now. Link in the description below. Now, this is the part of the video where I just go over some miscellaneous tips that I have that I think will be useful for you as well if you want to get onto Upwork and actually succeed on the platform. One, learn a programming language. The reason I say this is because not all data analysts know how to program. And even in my videos, I tell people you don't have to know how to program to be a data analyst. You basically should know SQL and a BI tool. Those are the two, and Excel, those three things. If you know how to do those three things, you can get a job as a data analyst. Now, the thing is, when you learn a programming language like Python or R, you're able to do things and a large number of things that other people cannot do. And you can take on tasks that are not just data analyst tasks on Upwork. And don't be afraid to take on tasks that are a little bit outside your wheelhouse. It can be a great opportunity to expand your horizons and maybe see if a career in something else, like maybe software engineering, is what you want to be doing, or maybe web development. There was a web development job that I actually took up, and I designed the entire website in Python because it's what I knew. But knowing Python was made it to where I could actually take on a large number of jobs I would not have been able to take on otherwise. All right, so one important thing that people don't talk about enough about Upwork, in my opinion, is how to manage clients. In order to get those 5-star reviews, you can't just finish the job on time, or you can't just finish the job in full. You need to also finish it on time. And in my opinion, or not even in my opinion, in my experience, sometimes jobs have scope creep, and sometimes the number of things in the job will expand and more stuff will have to get done. And if that's the case, then you might find yourself doing more work than you promised doing, which is why I believe managing client expectations is one of the most important things that any consultant needs to know in order to have a successful career on something like Upwork. And I do that by using this client dashboard, which I built out. It's the same one I've used whenever I go around and go ahead and do my Upwork consulting, and you can go check it out on this Gumroad link below. It's fairly simple. I'll have a screenshot of it over here as well. That way you can see exactly what it is. You'll see it's not particularly complicated, but there's a couple of things that you need to consider. You need to always have your client's contact information and their preferred method of contact, the proposal you sent, the rate you agreed to. Sometimes you'll do stuff at a project level. Sometimes you'll do stuff at an hourly level. Legal documents, so NDAs, SOWs, so statements of work, basically, invoices. Some clients will ask for invoices, some don't. The scope of the work, this is very, very important because scope creep, or the basic incremental increasing of the scope as people add more requirements, like, oh, could you do this thing, could you do this thing, could you do this thing, is a major danger to projects like this. Now, if you're charging by the hour, then it doesn't really matter. But a lot of the projects that you'll do initially, you'll charge a flat rate. That way you give your clients a lot of confidence that, hey, I'm not going to pay any more than this to get the work done. Another tip for you guys, as you get more experience, you can charge hourly, and then you don't have to put in so much work into figuring out, okay, exactly how much is this going to cost me. And then make sure you have your due dates in there and that you're very, very clear about when things are due, and specifically what is due when. The first contract that I did were basically all project-based. On Upwork, you can have two types of contracts, either hourly or project-based. Project-based basically means that you do some work, you get paid a flat fee no matter how long that work took. And hourly means you work for a certain number of hours and you get paid an hourly rate. You want hourly rate projects in the future, in my opinion, or you usually want that, right? But what I did is I used to do like flat fee, like total project proposals. And the reason I did that is it gave my clients a lot of confidence that they would only have to pay a certain amount for me, and there wouldn't be any creep on my end as far as the rate was concerned. And then I have a Kanban board down here, which is just basically a methodology for listing out all the tasks that need to get done, whether they're not started, in progress, or completed. This is a great way to help the client know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and when you're doing it. And I find that this level of communication with clients is fairly easy to put together. I've already put together the dashboard for you guys. It's easy to keep updated, and it's a tremendous way to make sure your clients know exactly what's going on, and gives them a lot of confidence. That way, even if things go wrong, you can say, hey, I'm very, very sorry, but this didn't go as expected. Can we have a little bit longer to do so? I found that as long as you're very clear with clients and you've communicated consistently with them and clearly and accurately with them, they're generally more than okay giving you extra time to get stuff done. So that's why I recommend having a dashboard like this in order to help your clients out, or help communicate with your clients, I'd say. Now I want to talk about what I call the 3 golden rules of consulting, in my opinion. Rule number 1. Provide the client with value multiple times the price they're paying for you. In this world, in the system that we have currently, in the market economy that we have currently, you do work. That work presumably is worth $100 to someone, and they'll pay you $50 for it. Everyone wins in exchange. You get money that you wouldn't have had earlier. They get something of a value greater than the amount of for the work that you put in, and the economy goes round and round and round. The reason I say this, right, is because it is very easy as you get more skilled and make more money in this industry to lose sight of what's actually important, which is driving value for clients, driving value for customers. People often ask, how do you do this stuff without getting greedy? That's how you do it. Always keep in mind the value the client is receiving for your work. And I think by doing this, you may not make as much money as someone who just takes the ultimate greed approach and always charge their clients as much as they possibly can, but you will definitely have a clearer conscience, a more cleanly run business, and probably a longer running business as well. If you want longevity, you have to worry about value. Number 2 is communicate thoroughly, consistently, and accurately with clients. And that's what that dashboard up there is supposed to help you out with. I find that if you do these 3 things, even if stuff goes wrong, clients are rarely angry. And then number 3, this is very important as well. The customer is not king. I've never believed that the customer is king, and the client definitely is not king. Quickly offload troublesome clients. There are always better opportunities out there. The customer is not always right. That's why they hired you. I have been very lucky to only deal with 2 clients that were quite difficult to deal with in my time. One of them I could not offload, and actually that's the one client that gave me not a 5-star review on my profile. If you look at my profile, I have 1 review that's not 5 stars, and it's from that one client. Unfortunately, the job was short enough to where I couldn't offload the client. I probably shouldn't have taken the job to begin with. And the other one, the requirements kept changing and the timelines were very, very short and poorly planned. And the client, one thing I don't really appreciate with clients is clients that freak out consistently. They will come to me and say like, hey, I need this thing done immediately. And like their emails are just a frantic, like, rush of thoughts. And the reason I don't appreciate that is because it is difficult to logically speak and reason out with someone who just has that kind of attitude in general. And you never know when they're going to like jump more information on you. Also, I would be very careful about clients that are very persnickety about your rates. I'm not at all saying that a client has no right to question your rates. They totally do. But if you find yourself discussing your rates consistently with clients and like having to justify your rate consistently, then there are two things to look at. One, are you driving the value you need to for the client? And then two, does this client have enough money to be hiring a consultant to do this kind of work? You don't want to compete fully on rates, in my opinion. You want to compete on quality. Competing on rates is a very easy way to overwork yourself and spend way too much time working and not earning enough money, which leads to burnout very, very quickly. It's bad for you. It's bad for your mental health. So managing clients is very, very important in my opinion. All right, so this is a part that everyone always asks me about. What should I charge? So this is a difficult question to answer. I'm sure that there are some people who are much more experienced in the industry that will be able to give a better answer than I did. I only did Upwork for about a year or so. I normally looked at my salary and charged 30% above that. That's what I've heard is a kind of good, what do you call it, like quick and dirty math you can use to see, okay, what should I be charging people? Take your salary and charge 30% above that, and then charge a little bit extra as well. So for example, and this wouldn't apply to my current salary, this would actually apply to my previous salary. I charge $66 an hour on Upwork. The reason I charge 66 is because Upwork takes a certain fee, and after they take their fee, I'm basically left with $60 an hour, which is, that would be $120,000 a year, which is, more than enough money for what I was doing on Upwork. I was thinking about quitting by the time I got my Nordstrom job anyways, and I am definitely going to be leaving Upwork right now. And let me give you a couple of reasons to why I'm leaving. Why am I leaving Upwork? The reason I want to go over this with you, you guys, is in order for you to understand the kind of toll that this work takes on, your mental health, your physical health, and see, is it worth it to you? I definitely think everyone should try it, but do you want to go all the way into it? And let's go into a couple of reasons. I think there are three major reasons. Number one, lack of ownership of the work. So I spend, my day job is, me going to work. I build something, and that thing is owned by the company. I'm totally okay with that for my day job. But then what happens is with Upwork, I will, log off my main job at 5 o'clock, and then I'll go do Upwork, where I continue to build products for other people. Now I'm building technical skills. I'm getting money. It's a completely fair exchange. But I guess I just couldn't get over the fact that like all the stuff I was building was not really building my wealth all that much, because I was working hourly, right? Like I would like earn a certain amount of money, and then I could put it into the stock market, I could like spend it, but like I wasn't really building much wealth, and I wasn't building something that I owned, which is one of the things I feel very blessed about having this YouTube channel for. It's something that I own and I can build, or I own it as much as you can own it. Honestly, at the end of the day, obviously YouTube owns it, but you know what I mean. Number two, something to consider, and this is really, really important. If you work a tech job, which a lot of us do, right? Like we work as analytics professionals. From a monetary perspective, it oftentimes makes more sense to just chase promotions at your day job instead of doing consulting on the side. Understand the opportunity cost of the time you're putting into consulting. I think early in your career, it can be a great way to increase your skill set at a faster rate than other people can increase their skills. And you might even be able to charge a lot more for what you do than you get paid for at work. But once you get like a good paying job at a major company, for me, at Nordstrom, it becomes difficult to, or more than that, it is more time efficient to just chase promotions than it is to go and do this work on the side, unless you're able to charge a lot of money for your consulting. Usually you'll have to do some kind of strategy consulting at that point in time. So I will definitely say I feel like I made a less than efficient trade with some of my consulting, where I continued to do it instead of putting extra time into my job. Like the amount of time I put into Upwork, I could have put into my day job and potentially gotten a promotion, which would have paid a lot more than Upwork could have reasonably paid. So something to consider. And then the third and final reason is because of y'all. I'm quitting Upwork because of you guys. The support that you guys have shown this channel has made it to where I make more than enough money on this channel in order to, I think actually outstrip what I make on Upwork within any reasonable amount of time. And it's something I get to own. It's something I get to build. And it's the reason I want to keep teaching you guys. I enjoy teaching you guys these things. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the description below. It is a lot of fun for me to make these videos. Support the channel by supporting our sponsors, projectpro.io. Amazing website. I've used it for a couple of things. I really like it. Just link in the description below, link in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much for checking out my video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know anyone else that wants to get into the world of Upwork or get into the world of freelancing, make sure you share this video with them, please. Sharing my videos is probably the best way you can support this channel. Thank you guys so much and hope you have a great day.